Our campus community is blessed with so many amazing people who embody BYU-Idaho's mission to develop disciples of Jesus Christ who are leaders in their homes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and in their communities. We want to introduce you to some of them and let you hear their stories. This is the BYU-Idaho Disciple Journeys podcast. I'm Isabella Salazar. My interview today is with Audrey Fowles, and this is Audrey's journey. So just to begin, Audrey, can you tell me why you decided to attend BYU-Idaho?
Yeah, so I'm from Boulder, Colorado. I grew up there my whole life, and I was actually going to go to Southern Virginia University. I was really dead set on it. My junior and senior year, I went out and visited with my dad and my brother, but it just didn't really feel completely right. And so when it came down to making a decision, I decided on going to BYU-Idaho because it was closer to mountains. In my senior year, I basically would go skiing as often as I could, so like 3 times a week. Even though I did have school, like I had some off days, and so that's basically what drew me here was the mountains. But I'm glad that I came here because it definitely just felt like the right decision, and like all my anxiety was gone once I decided that.
Yeah, wow. Okay, that's really cool. So it was the mountains that drew you in.
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, I understand that you were kind of on the fence about a particular internship that you were thinking about doing. Can you tell me a bit about what that internship was and then your decision-making process? Yeah,
so last fall, so fall 2022, I needed an internship, but it wasn't at the top of my mind at the moment. I was just kind of doing classes, trying to, find jobs and whatnot. But I saw that the communications department just posted a random internship listing for the church, and it was in Washington, D.C. It was like for PR majors and political science majors and stuff, and all of the things just sounded exactly what I wanted to do. And so I was like, okay, I'll just apply, but I didn't think that I would get it, and it kind of seemed like a long shot because it was like across the country and whatnot. But I ended up getting the internship, and it just felt like something that I needed to do. So yeah, I basically just went to DC, and it was kind of like one of those processes where everything kind of just fell into place as it went. Like I couldn't find housing. I was basically left to try to find an apartment. I almost had to do long-term Airbnb because there was nothing like affordable or that would work. But I remember I got in contact with the Utah State housing people that have interns out there. And I asked her if I could live there, and I didn't hear back for a long time. And then when I was in church, I prayed. I was like, help me get this housing because this is the only way it's going to work. And then I swear it was right before I took the sacrament. And then after the sacrament was done, I got an email from her saying that they accepted me and that I could live with them. So everything just kind of fell into place throughout.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. That's so cool. And can you tell me a bit more about what the responsibilities of the internship entailed?
Yeah. So it was with in the church's communication department, and I worked in the International and Public Affairs office in DC. So basically, the whole point of that office is to build relationships with ambassadors and people so that they can build temples in other countries, missionary visas, humanitarian work, all sorts of stuff like that. And my specific roles were going through news and finding stuff and sending it to the office that was important to the office. And then I would also go through newsroom and try to find different opportunities for us to reach out to ambassadors. So if we did humanitarian work or whatever, that was a good opportunity for us to build that relationship, and drafting letters too. So I would help draft those letters to the ambassadors, and then also help with the event planning.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was it like being there in DC and doing this new internship?
It was a lot of fun. It was definitely nerve-wracking at first because everybody in the office and just everybody there seemed so wise and smart, and they are so wise and like smart. And yeah, when I first got there, I was kind of overwhelmed because also I've never really spent a whole lot of time on the East Coast too, so that was new. Like I didn't know anybody there, but it was a lot of fun. Like I made a lot of friends and met a lot of really cool people, and like just had a lot of experiences that, were once in a lifetime experiences that I'll like always remember.
Mm-hmm. Can you share any of those?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them are like more spiritual experiences, but I think the one that comes to mind is I was able to help volunteer at the IRF Summit, which is like the International Religious Freedom Summit. So people from all over the world come, and all sorts of religions kind of advocating for different purposes. But on one of the days, I was like the youngest volunteer. All of them were like 50 and 60, and wow. They kind of all had their own little stories. But I got really close with this one girl who was like, she was old. She had like a little like nonprofit or whatever, and she was just like super fun old lady, like Dolly Parton vibe, like kind of crazy. And then there was this couple named Margot and Peter, and she was from Haiti and he was from New York, and they had their own church in New York. And I just remember I was talking to the one that I was talking about first. Her name was Cynthia, but I was talking to her about how like I'm in college, I don't know what I want to do, I kind of figuring out where I want to go in my career. And she was like, oh, well, we should have like Margot pray for you because she's really good at giving prayers or whatever. So I was like, okay, like I'm cool with that. And so Margot and Peter came over and she started praying for me, and like it was like the most powerful time I've ever felt the Spirit in my life. And it wasn't really anything to do with my career, but it was like an answer to my prayers that I was having, because I felt a little bit out of place in the office. I was like, okay, like how do I, get a stronger testimony and like, be more in tune with the Spirit and stuff. And she just basically told me exactly how to do that. She was saying like I should grow my relationship with Christ and pray. And like in the moment, it was just like, it was everything that I needed to hear. And like nothing else around me really was mattering, nothing else mattered around me. So yeah. Wow. And it really just like changed my perspective on things like ever since then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like what ways did it change your perspective?
I think just like spiritually, I wasn't really like making an effort or doing the things that I should be. My priorities were other places, you know what I mean? And I still like had a firm testimony. Like I know I believed in the church, but I wasn't doing anything. I was doing things that would like take me away from it almost, Mm-hmm. And so it just kind of like pointed my head in the right direction and showed me what I need to be focusing on. And like I really ever since then, like especially during the internship, I was praying like every night, every morning, and really like making an effort. And I was able to just see like kind of God's hand in my life every day, and like see how I was being blessed every day and different things going on around me. So yeah,
that is really cool. And Margot wasn't, what like denomination was she?
So she was Christian. I don't know specifically what, but yeah, she wasn't okay. LDS. They didn't even know that I was LDS too, like, mm-hmm. which was really cool, because I think that, sometimes the Spirit speaks to you through other people, and you have to be willing to listen, even if you think that you're not going to learn something from anybody, no matter who it is. So
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been interesting helping with like this like religious freedom kind of what's the word? I guess mission, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did this kind of, did it impact your view of people of other faiths at all? And if so, in what ways?
Yeah. I've always like accepted and loved to learn different viewpoints of different people. And, but I think that being at that just whole event in general, like hearing crazy stories of people who are impacted in their countries, I realized like how big of a deal religious freedom is and like how much that would affect my life if I didn't have that. And yeah, I don't know. It just, yeah.
Yeah, it's so essential. There's actually an interfaith leadership class on campus. It's one of the religion classes. I'm taking it right now, and that's a huge thing that we talk about is, making sure that we have religious freedom, but also that people of all faiths and non-faiths also have that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then were there any other maybe practices or just ways to be more proactive with your faith that you adopted after doing this internship?
Yeah, I definitely think praying was a big one. Like you kind of, it's your communication with Heavenly Father, and it's just really important for creating a good foundation of your faith. I also think a big thing that I learned was just trusting and taking a leap of faith sometimes, because I could have gone to DC and it could have been awful and I could have hated it and been lonely the whole time, you know what I mean? But I knew that, okay, if I go, clearly there's something, that I need to do there or learn there, and I really trusted that, and so I just went. And I think with other things in my life too, it kind of just taught me take that leap of faith if that's what you feel you need to do. Even if you don't want to do, if it feels like your gut is telling you to do that, then just go for it.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's so important. Yeah. How has your experience at BYU-Idaho helped draw you closer to Christ?
I think it's just unique to be around students who all have some sort of, story with the church. No matter what their testimony is, we all have that common denominator in us. So it's really cool. And we pray in class, and our teachers implement the gospel sometimes in class and with what we're learning. So I think that that's really cool to just learn with the Spirit every day, and yeah, all of that. And I also think that the wards are great. I'm in a ward right now that has activities often, almost every week. And people really love to get to know other people. They'll come up to you, they'll introduce themselves. And I just think that is a cool experience to have kind of that ward family and feeling like you're welcomed and you belong here.
Yeah, that's so cool. Do you have any advice for a new student who maybe is trying to get a bit more connected with the other students, or maybe in their ward or just in the community?
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely hard sometimes, when you're new, or even if you're not new and it's just a new semester, trying to figure out, your groove and meeting new people. But at least in my experience, I've just had to push myself outside of my comfort zone when I don't want to. If somebody asks me to go do something and I don't know any of them and it seems uncomfortable, just go, because you could meet somebody, even if it's just one person. You'll meet new people through that person too. You know what I mean? So I think just getting yourself out there, being open-minded to new things and trying new things and meeting new people. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the BYU-Idaho Disciple Journeys podcast, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. A special thanks to our guest, Audrey Fowles. Our theme music is by Sophia Pack, and I'm Isabella Salazar. You can listen to more episodes on your favorite podcast app or find us online at byui.edu/radio.